Hello everyone, this is Valerie with Old Alley Quilt Shop. This is my cutting instructions for the Moda Stitch Pink Block 16, Just Call Me a Diva. So on this block, we need a few different types of pieces. So first thing it says is to cut 4 3.5-inch squares. So I got a 3.5-inch strip here of my background. There's 2. And 4. These are really hard for me to see. I'm not sure why. The lighting in here at night. So I'm just going to turn them all right sides up. Your B squares is color number 9 for me, which is this red from my juniper line. Okay, so it wants 8 2-inch squares. 2. And we actually... Alrighty, so there's 8. And again, just so I'm consistent with all my fabrics, I'm going to turn them right sides up. Okay. B squares. C squares are 8 2 by 3.25. Need 8 of those. So these are already 3.5, not 3.25. These are already 3.5 long, so I just need some 2-inch strips. There's 2. I don't always do this, but sometimes you can. I needed 3 more strips, so I brought it to my 6 and then just brought it to my 4. Sometimes the math's just too much for my head, so I don't do it. But I can count by 2s still, so we're good. Okay, so those are the rectangles of C. And then D is 2 background 4.25-inch squares. These are already cut. I had some left over from my previous block, so those are cut. And then E is 2 4.25-inch squares of 7. Again, these were previously cut. I'm gonna just a little piece right here. Tie-away strings. Okay, so that is the E. F is again this 7. This is my replacement for their Grunge 254 Flamingo. This is a spotted. And anyway, I need 1 6.5-inch square. Well, I got my 6.5-inch ruler here. So I'm gonna get you all in this. There we go. So I should be able just to line this all up. I cut off the selvage. And there's my 6.5-inch square. Okay. And then I need 4 2-inch squares of the background. So here's a 2-inch strip. I need 4, so if I take it to 4, I'm doing 2 at a time. There's my strips. So evaluating this pattern, we have some of these pieces. We can do these 2 at a time, I believe. Then we have these will be squares on these rectangles. We'll have to do those 1 at a time. So if we take our D, which is the 4 1/4, and our E, which is the 4 1/4, it tells you, it asks you here to cut each square diagonally to make 8 triangles, but we can just stack these. Oops, I forgot. You can't see me. Sorry. These 4 1/4-inch triangles, we can stack these right sides together, draw one diagonal line, and I'll show you what to do at the machine. So your F piece, the 6 1/4 or 6 1/2 inch, is going to use these G 2-inch squares on the corners. It tells you to draw a diagonal line on each corner, so let's do that. Get the pattern out of the way. Now some of these end up in the seam allowance, so you can use just a pencil or a pen, but this particular one, I believe you'll be sewing on the line, so you might want to use something that disappears, whether it be a water-soluble pen or a heat-soluble pen or chalk or something. Okay. So these will end up snowballing the corners of this block. And then these will be these units here, the D and E units. These 4 A's will be in the corner of the block, and these are C, and these are B, and I'm guessing, yeah. On these, they want you to draw a diagonal line as well. Okay, so continue to do that, and we'll go over here to the sewing table and sew these up. See you in a minute. Okay, everyone, here is the piecing to block 16, Just Call Me a Diva. Okay, so just to go through what we need to do, on this center square, this might be going out of order, sorry. Here, the right order, I'll go into the right order. You made 2 of these. These are the 4¼ inch squares. We drew a line across the center. We're going to sew down each side and cut in half. And when we do that, we will get 2 new units, which are these units. Okay? So, bear with me. Okay, we are going to cut this. First, we're going to cut this from the unsewn corner to corner. They had you cut them all? Sorry, I think my phone's... I need to find a power cord. They had you cut them all first and then sew them, but if you do it this way, then you don't have to worry about your bias seams. So now we have these units. And if you sew towards the dark, then you'll be able to nest these pieces and sew those together, and you'll have those C or those DE middle blocks. So hold on, I'm going to find a power cord. Okay. Sorry about that. So again, sorry, I think I lost a little bit of my light too. So I'm gonna just finger press these over and sew them, and then I'll take them to the other end and press. Oops. Sorry. It's a nest. So then we'll press these and trim to 3.5, I believe. Yes, trim to 3.5. Be right back. Okay, again, I'm going to use my line across here, my 45-degree line, to kind of match me up at my 3.5. Okay. So there's my 3.5. Oops. Get my extra parts out of the way here. All my trimmings. Right. Those in the trash. So we have these 2 blocks. That's the first portion of what they have you do. The next piece is they have you make these units, which is taking those aside and those aside. So we're taking these background units, these rectangles you have that are two and 3/4 inch, or 2 and 3.5 inch, sorry. So we need to make 2 of them where this will fold that direction. So there's 1, and here's the 2. You got to make sure you do these opposite. And you will sew on the line. So that's the same, so that we want this opposite. So we're going to put this in the corner. Okay, we want 2 of each of those. So technically you want 4 of each. I've already got some of them done. I sew on the line, but I would sew just on the right side of that line just to make sure I have enough room. Oops. 1 needle width to the right of the line. It's better to have extra than not enough. Chain those 3 pieces. All right, so now you have this piece. I am so sorry it's so dark. So I'm going to iron these and then trim them to 2 by 3.5. Okay, I'm back. Here's these pieces. And you should have 2 going one way and 2 going the other way. So to make this center unit, the next step, actually the next step is your center unit. I already snowballed 2 corners. And put these in the corner, sew on the line here. And then iron and trim. And same with like the other one. I will probably do 1 needle on the other side of the line. Okay, so we will iron these back, trim them. Alrighty, ironed. So now we have a unit that should measure 6.5 by 6.5, which is the size of my ruler. And it is. All right. So the next step is to put these units together. You want the unit to be away. So this must be it. So you want your unit to look like this. You'll make 4 of these. I'm going to self-correct. I felt myself come off that line for my seam, so it's short. Sometimes you gotta start over. Okay, so I got one on. That'll be the other side. I tried to take the piece that has, if there's no slack in either side, I take the piece that has the most seams on top so I can control where they're folding. And here's your pieces. Ta-da! Okay, I'm going to iron these quick. Alrighty. So then, to make this middle unit, you will stick these together. And notice these points should land together. Hopefully. There's one side. My points came out pretty good. Alrighty. There is our middle unit. And then you take, sorry, light's not very good. You make the end units by doing that same thing, making this unit and putting the two 4-inch corners. I pressed these towards the corners, and I'll press this one towards the inside, and then I will nest my seams and sew those 3 pieces together. Be right back. Again, sorry for the darkness, but there's my final product. This is, again, block 16. Just call me a diva. So thanks for joining me, everyone. Have an awesome evening.